back again for the third and final start today. Country today is Israel. We're on American Samoa now. As I do. The first history is about American Samoa, but one after that is specifically about Samoa as a whole. It's just there is more than one Samoa. And yeah. Samoans have unusual beliefs about their origins. They believe that they originally came from Samoa. In fact, the version of how Samoa came to exist is much in common with the biblical story of Genesis. And more conventional views hold that the people who first colonized a group of Pacific islands came from the East Indies, the Malay Peninsula, or the Philippines. Samoa was busy trading ports even as early as the mid-1770s. One manner of travellers, including occasional pirates and escaped convicts, fell free to sample the hospitality of easy-going Samoan people. During the 19th century, missionaries made it a hotbed for extensive conversions. The Americans really entered the scene in 1872 when they gained exclusive use of the deep water port of Pago Pago, which was popular at the time as a whaling port, and by the 1880s a fracas between Americans, British and Germans was in full steam. As the situation deteriorated until unexpectedly a cyclone wiped out the warships, and they were forced to negotiate a compromise. The Treaty of Berlin in 1889 gave Samoa to the Americans. Formal annexation took place on the 17th of April 1900, when the region fell under the auspice of the Department of the Navy, as American presence in Samoa was largely non-interfering till the early 1960s, when the American magazine carried an article titled "America's Shame on the South Seas," an expose of poverty of the locals, as President Kennedy started an intense modernization campaign in American Samoa, which ran out of funds in 1967, leaving locals feeling confused and directionless, as American Samoa depends on loans and grants from the US government. But the government is making efforts to consolidate the territory's future. So yeah, moving on to language and all, as the Samoans are a Polynesian group that other people speaking the native language Samoan, as the Samoan original tradition suggests that the Polynesian race originated from the Samoan Islands. As per this belief, all Polynesian islands present in the Pacific Ocean were filled with mass migration, as people from Samoa joined the colonization of Samoa. As modern studies have challenged this migration theories, proposing that there were two surges of migrations that populated the said islands. As the study holds that the first wave of relocation was from Southeast Asia, where the second wave came from the indigenous Samoan people who were disrupted by the colonial powers. Also, Samoan is a language, and going over Samoan language, as Samoan is the language spoken by the Samoan Islands, which is made up of the independent states of Samoan and American Samoa, as Samoan is the official language of all the islands put together with English, as Samoan is the oldest and most spoken language in the Polynesian Islands, with a total of about 510,000 speakers worldwide, and is third most recognised language in New Zealand, with 2% of the population, or about 86,000 people able to speak the language. Samoan is distinctive in phonology between formal and informal dialogues, and is also in a traditional form of speech that is used in Samoan oratory. As Samoan language falls under the Austronesian language family, which can be narrowed down to Samoan unique division of a Polynesian subphylum, and is notable to largely with Polynesian languages, in which it shares related words and numbers as the terms of reference, and the mythical gods are also similar. As classifications of the Samoan language in relation to the other Polynesian language is a matter of debate among linguists. As the first classification, which is considered traditional, classifies a language based on common improvements in grammar and terminology, as a classic group of Samoan with Tekalawan as a language of Eastern Polynesia, such as Maori, Tahitian, Hawaiian, and Rapa Nui. And a line of thought suggests that the nuclear Polynesian and Tongic are major divisions of the Polynesian group. As a second classification divides it divisions on vocabulary only, as this vocabulary is found in the Austronesian vocabulary database, as it contradicts the initial classification, suggesting that Samoan and Tongic form a subgroup. As the Samoan language has a 14-letter alphabet, as letters H, K, and R are used as loanwords. The approximate numbers of the Samoan speakers are in the world are about 470,000, which is 50% reside in Samoan Islands. As the next biggest number of speakers is found in New Zealand, the census conducted in New Zealand 2006 recorded that 95,428 speakers of Samoan language. As the Australian census of 2006 indicates that there were 38,525 speakers of Samoan in the country, and 39,992 people who can trace their ancestry to Samoa. In 2010, the US Census recorded more than 180,000 Samoans within the US borders. And the number is 3 times the population of American Samoa, and the numbers are slightly smaller than the estimated population of the island nation of Samoa, which was 193,000 in 2011. And moving on to legends. As widespread stories across the Pacific describe the most beautiful woman in the islands as a Samoan girl named Sina. As a king of Fiji, the Tuifiti, Dyson decided to go there and win Sina as his wife. And using all his powers and Fijian magic, Tuifiti turned himself into a young eel or tuna and swam in the oceans to Samoa, as there is very common freshwater eel or tuna in South Pacific Islands. Now its many islands, streams, and young larval eels spend their early lives adrift in sea and return to freshwater when adults. And one day Sina dipped seawater for her mother's cooking, and she noticed a young tuna in a lagoon pool, gathering in her calabash, and she took it home for a pair, and Sina kept the tuna in a bowl, nurtured it carefully, and when the tuna grew too large for the bowl, Sina placed it in a spring near the fail, but the tuna soon outgrew the small pool, and their mother's suggestion, Sina caught the tuna and put it in a much larger village bathing pool, where it hid under a ledge and through the pool. And the pool was used by everyone, no one but Sina ever saw the tuna. And when Sina came to the bathing pool, tuna would come out of hiding, play for her, and eventually encircle her and gliding and wiggling in embrace. Sina now became afraid of tuna and became very large and wouldn't bathe in the village pool. So she bathed in a tiny spring near her fail, but whenever Sina bathed, the tuna appeared in the small springs pool. Now afraid and angry, Sina left her village to escape the tuna, and while everyone slept, she slipped away and began a long journey to another village. Along the way, when thirsty, she was stopping at the trail-side springs to drink, but every 2 for the tuna always appeared, as afraid Sina kept travelling village to village and island to island, but everywhere to her distress the tuna had followed. In desperation, Cena came to Frono and sat between two speech makers. And then all sat in fear as they saw a huge tuna approach across the open ground, stop in front of Cena and say, "Beautiful Cena, forgive me, but listen to me. I'm the Tuifiti from faraway Fiji. I came to seek you as my wife, but I have long lost my magic and cannot change myself back into a man. I have travelled long and I am tired, soon I will die. I have a wish to beg of you. So when I die, cut my head off and bury it in front of your veil. A tree will go from it a tree that will be very useful to you. When the northern wind fails to blow, take its leaves and weave a fan to cool yourself. When it bears fruit and drink from it when you are thirsty. And when you do, you will kiss me." And the broken-hearted Chuna died, and Cena carefully planted his head. And soon the plant grew and became a tree, and no one before had ever seen, as it was the first coconut tree. As coconuts are not native plants to the Pacific, as botanists and anthropologists conclude that it was brought by us. And it also has more shared stone and possibly in the Pacific, coconut trees are signature plants marking human occupation, as coconut documents wherever they occur as a human occupation site. Yeah. And when you eat the next coconut, you'll see the eyes and mouth of Tuifiti, and on the end of Cena's tuna. And yeah, that is American Samoa for you, and in part Samoa as well. So yeah, I'll see you all later for the news, and yeah, bye for now.